Hello, this is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Welcome to Morning Mindset Cafe, where today we are talking about it's time to test your success quotient. What does that mean? What that means is that is the title of chapter 20 out of the book we've been referencing, Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. And a shout out to Matt. Welcome. It's good to see you. And just a side note, just before I went on the recording, I was telling Cindy about Tucson, Arizona area and the need for water. Tea, coffee, they will dehydrate you. And if you're not used to the climate conditions of Arizona, then the best defense is to drink a lot of water. Actually, same thing applies to Denver, up in the mountains because of the thin air. Altitude sickness happens in Denver. So anyway, yeah, I just know stuff. Sticks with me. Some of it's experience, some of it is what I've read, and then most of it's a combination. So anyway, let's talk about testing our success quotient. Let's learn what does that really mean? Well, the first thing, and yes, in the PDF, thank you so much, Cindy, is page 328 in the PDF that's available to those in the live stream. So remember, your only real limitation is that which you set up in your own mind or accept as insurmountable. Let's begin with that thought. Your only real limitation is that which you set up in your own mind or accept as insurmountable. So to this point, we've read all but the last 3 chapters of Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. And in all honesty, we're only going to read one more after this one. Maybe. We'll see. Now would be a good time to take a look at your own mental attitude. And you can do this for yourself. But before you do, we want to know, or we want you to know, our attitude. The burden of teaching is upon the person who wants to teach. And with whom does the burden of learning lie? Perhaps J. Milburn Smith has the answer. Now, J. Milburn Smith rose from assistant to the office boy to president of the Continental Casualty Company of Chicago. He told us, the burden of learning is on the person who wants to learn, not on the person who wants to teach. He also said, a have-not is a person who believes that an idea is not good for him unless he himself originated. And I say, copy from success. Everything I have done, I have borrowed from another person or business. And he continued, be respectful and listen to those who have experience. For the experienced man had something I wanted, and that's why I associated with older and successful men, for I took what they had, their good, their knowledge and experience, but not their weaknesses. And then I added this to what I had. Thus, I profited even by their mistakes as well as my own. To learn, one must pay the price. And I was willing to pay it, for I was not taught. I learned. Knowledge, you must seek it out. Copy from success, says J. Milburn Smith. And you can begin by asking yourself some questions. Am I willing to pay the price? Am I willing to take the good, the knowledge, and the experience, but not the weaknesses of the men I have read about in this book? If your answer is yes, then we have a suggestion that we know will help you. But let's first remind you that as you have read the pages of this book, you have frequently been called upon to answer questions about yourself. Although these may have appeared to have been simple questions, in reality, is there anything harder than to evaluate oneself correctly. Know thyself is probably the most difficult admonition ever given to man. To assist you to know thyself, the authors have prepared a personal analysis questionnaire, which has helped many men and women to do this more satisfactorily. You've already taken many tests: intelligence, aptitude, personality, vocabulary, and all the rest. But this one is different. We call it your success quotient analysis. It is based on the 17 success principles which have been responsible for the worthwhile achievements of the world's outstanding leaders in all fields. It has many purposes: to direct your thoughts and desired channels, to crystallize your own thinking, to indicate your present position on the road to success, to encourage you to decide exactly where you want to be, to measure your chances of reaching your desired destination, to indicate your present ambitions and other characteristics, to motivate you to desirable action with positive mental attitude. Our suggestion is that you immediately try to answer the following success quotient analysis thoughtfully and truthfully to the best of your ability. Try not to fool yourself, for this test will be valid only if you answer every question with the truth as you now see it. All right, before I go into the questions, does everybody understand how important it is to be truthful and honest as you're answering these questions? Now, are you willing to pay the price for being truthful and honest? Are you prepared? Are you prepared to accept what you find? And then taking what you find as being this is who and where you are right now on your road to success, so that you can use it as a benchmark as you continue on the road, as a mile marker, if you will. Cindy's saying you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. That's right. Parents, you can talk until you're blue in the face, and until the child listens, it won't go anywhere. Galileo, you cannot teach a man anything. You can only help him find it within himself. This is like the teacher is responsible to teach and the learner is responsible for learning. Exactly. That's between Cindy and Matt. Exactly. If you're not prepared for this right now, that's fine. I am. I know if you are. I know some of you watching are. And those of you who aren't, at least you're now going to know what it's going to take for you to move forward. All right, let's take a look at this. And we're not talking about hundreds of questions here. There's only 17 questions. It's a little test. And you're going to answer yes or no about definiteness of purpose. Have you decided upon a definite major goal in life? Yes. Have you set a time limit for reaching that goal? Do you have specific plans for achieving your goal in life? Have you determined what definite benefits your goal in life will bring you? Positive mental attitude. Do you know what is meant by a positive mental attitude? Do you control your mental attitude? Do you know the only thing over which anyone has complete power of control? Do you know how to detect a negative mental attitude in yourself and others? Do you know how to make positive mental attitude a habit? Going the extra mile. Do you make a habit of rendering more and better service than you are paid for? Do you know when an employee is entitled to more pay? Do you know of anyone who has achieved success in any calling without doing more than he was paid to do? Do you believe anyone has a right to expect an increase in salary unless he is doing more than he is paid for? If you were your own employer, would you be satisfied with the sort of service you are now rendering as an employee? Accurate thinking. Do you make it your duty constantly to learn more about your occupation? Is it your habit to express opinions on subjects with which you are not familiar? Do you know how to find the facts when you need knowledge? Self-discipline. Do you hold your tongue when angry? Is it your habit to speak before you think? Do you lose your patience easily? Are you generally even-tempered? Is it your habit to allow your emotions to overpower your reason? The mastermind. Are you influencing other people to help you attain your goal in life? Do you believe that a person can succeed in life without the aid of others? Do you believe a man can easily succeed in his occupation if he is opposed by his wife or other members of his family? Are there advantages when an employer and an employee work together in harmony? Are you proud when a group to which you belong is praised? We have applied faith. Do you have faith in an infinite intelligence? Are you a person of integrity? Do you have confidence in your ability to do what you decide to do? Are you reasonably free from these 7 basic fears? Fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of ill health, fear of loss of love, fear of loss of liberty, fear of old age, fear of death. Pleasing personality. Are your habits offensive to others? Is it your habit to apply the golden rule? Are you liked by those with whom you work? Do you bore others? Personal initiative. Do you plan your work? Must your work be planned for you? Do you possess outstanding qualities not possessed by others in your line of work? Is it your habit to procrastinate? Is it your habit to try to create better plans for doing your work more efficiently? Enthusiasm. Are you an enthusiastic person? Do you direct your enthusiasm toward carrying out your plans? Does your enthusiasm overpower your judgment? Controlled attention. Is it your habit to concentrate your thoughts on what you're doing? Are you easily influenced to change your plans or your decisions? Are you inclined to abandon your aims and plans when you meet opposition? Do you keep working regardless of unavoidable distractions? Teamwork. Do you get along harmoniously with others? Do you grant favors as freely as you ask them? Do you have frequent disagreements with others? Are there great advantages in friendly cooperation among coworkers? Are you aware of the damage one can cause by not cooperating with coworkers? Learning from defeat. Does defeat cause you to stop trying? If you fail in a given effort, do you keep trying? Is temporary defeat the same as failure? Have you learned any lessons from defeat? Do you know how defeat can be converted into an asset that will lead to success? Creative vision. Do you use your imagination constructively? Do you make your own decisions? Is the man who only follows instructions always worth more than the man who also creates new ideas? Are you inventive? Do you create practical ideas in connection with your work? When desirable, do you seek sound advice? Budgeting time and money. Do you save a fixed percentage of your income? Do you spend money without regard to your future source of income? Do you get sufficient sleep each night? Is it your habit to employ spare time studying self-improvement books? Maintenance of sound health. Do you know the 5 essential factors of sound health? Do you know where sound health begins? Are you aware of the relation of relaxation to sound health? Do you know the 4 important factors necessary for the proper balancing of sound health? Do you know the meaning of hypochondria and psychosomatic illness? And finally, using cosmic habit force as it pertains to your personal habits. Do you have habits which you feel you cannot control? Have you recently eliminated undesirable habits? Have you recently developed any new desirable habits? What we've just covered are 17 topics with 4 to 6 questions each. And it's a self-analysis questionnaire. Where are you now on your road to success? Now, here's the interesting part. You can grade yourself. Of course, I'm not going to ask you to grade yourself now. I ran through those questions. You need time to think on this, right? That's why you need to take a copy of that PDF with you or get your own book. All right. So it's telling us that these questions should be answered no, and it lists them. And all other questions should have been answered yes. Your score would have been 300 if all had been answered no or yes as shown above. It's a perfect score, and very few people have ever made such a score. I would not have made 300. Nope. Even in the quick review of those questions, I was saying, yeah, not so much. Yeah, not so much. Right? And it's not an admonishment to myself. It truly is an assessment of where I am right now on the road to where I want to be. And for me to be able to gauge growth, to see that I've come far or small, doesn't matter, that I've made steps forward, I have to have a starting point for basis of measurement. So I can compare myself with these questions today to the last time we read these questions a couple of months ago and compare myself where I was then to where I am now. You know, I've talked about those annual retreats. So one way to do this would be to take this assessment, literally write it down, either print out the questions, take them with you when you are going on retreat and answer them and find where the gaps are and what it is that you want to focus your attention on. And the next time that you are able to retreat and take time for yourself to gauge where you are in your growth, have that with you, take this again, and then compare to the two. Having done this, you will have taken an important step to success and happiness. You have tried to answer the questions in the success quotient analysis searchingly and honestly. If not, you will. Now, the important thing to remember is these results are not final and they're not unchangeable. If scored high, it means you'll be able to assimilate and practice the principles in this book rather quickly. If your score was not so high, it's really okay. Apply positive mental attitude. You can achieve great success in life. When you need help from a psychologist to find out what business or profession you may be fitted for, he will frequently ask you to take a battery of tests. The picture that emerges from these tests will show you what your particular tendencies are. However, the psychologist does not regard the result of these tests as final. He always arranges for a personal interview to find out that which a test will not answer. He uses the results of the tests in the interview, the combination, to counsel you and to evaluate your progress. In the same way, you can use the first score on the questionnaire as a means of measuring your own ever-growing success quotient. Read this book, Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, from cover to cover once more and again, and again. Read it aloud with your husband, wife, or a close friend, discussing it point by point. Read it until every principle becomes a part of your life, motivating your every action. Then, when you have earnestly applied these principles for 3 months, take the test again. Not only will many wrong answers become right ones, but answers you gave correctly the first time will become more emphatic and confident. Your success quotient can serve you as more than a yardstick. It can serve to underline those areas where you need to work hardest for self-improvement. It will also reveal your areas of special strength. Your future is ahead of you. You have the power to direct your thoughts and control your emotions. Just awaken the sleeping giant within you. On Monday, we'll talk about what that looks like. But for now, this is what we're doing, isn't it? We've reread it a couple of times together. We've been going over it point by point. Those have been with me on this journey know that because of this, I was able to get out of survival mode and into thrive mode. It was about January, February when it started happening for me, 2016. And I'm definitely in thrive mode now. I'm no longer in survival mode. I'm living most of these principles. I am doing well overall. And when I just at a glance talk through the questionnaire, I could see always room for improvement, right? Yes, there is room for improvement. I'm not to the perfect score yet, which I want to be. That's my goal. But I have to do it in, and that's just at a glance. So when I am able to take the time to relax and to take these questions seriously and answer them with a searching heart and with an open mind and with a willingness to see the truth, that's where more growth is going to happen. And yes, I will be doing that. So Donna is saying, I caught the one that said, does your enthusiasm overpower your judgment? That does happen to me since I have a natural bubbly personality. I don't agree that a lot of enthusiasm is a weakness. All that energy rubs off on others and influence and can get people on board. Does the enthusiasm overpower your judgment? That's the question, not the level of enthusiasm or expression of such that you have. That's not the issue. The issue is when it overpowers your judgment. I can introduce you to somebody who, in a drop of a hat, is all on board. His enthusiasm is incredible. It's infectious. It's contagious. It can be wonderful. And when I say enthusiasm, he is speaking the right words. It's coming from the heart. He has a very high energy level. In addition to that, he's very fit. So he's sounds real good, doesn't this? And I told you, in a drop of a hat, he can become so enthusiastic it overpowers his judgment, so he can't think clearly. What I mean by that is he can be easily led to spend money that he hadn't intended to spend, that he can be a part of a crowd where it feels positive and feels good and we're all in the right direction, and the crowd now is doing things that kind of go against what he thinks is the right thing to do. But, you know, it's all caught up in the moment. That's what we're talking about. Overpower your judgment. I'm not talking about that. I mean, trust me, I am not the most energetic person in the room. I admit that. I am not the one people come to get the party started. When I feel enthusiastic, when you know me, you understand how that looks and how it sounds. I don't tend to allow emotions to override my thinking. So I love people who have that high energy that Donna's referring to, right? That enthusiasm. But I don't trust people who have The combination of high enthusiasm, high energy, and lack of judgment. Like the description of what that looks like. I don't trust you. I mean, you're kind of fun to be around at an arm's length because it's pretty high energy. But when I watch the decisions that you make and how easily led you are, I don't trust you. So there's that's the other side, right? The people that are watching you who have that level of enthusiasm. All right, so Cindy's probably at about 60-70% affirmative to success. Hey, good for you. Good for you for taking the question seriously and answering them. I can think back to 2 or 3 months ago and know that had I taken this test before those mornings in the mastermind group, I would probably have been at 40% or lower. Bless you, Cindy. I would probably have been at 40% or lower. I love that. At least now it's higher to the success side than to the unsuccessful side. Yes. By the way, she's referring to a mastermind group that I facilitated. She was a member of. And Donna, about the enthusiasm, I get very passionate and enthusiastic and enjoy the rush. But after a while, I would take a moment to catch my breath and clear my thoughts, to not let my adrenaline take over my decision-making process. Beautiful. Beautifully said. I not having that level of adrenaline and enthusiasm and passion, I didn't know how to articulate it. Beautifully said, Donna. Thank you. I feel the whole rush, but then take a moment. Does that make sense? Absolutely. And that's what they're talking about here, is how to not let enthusiasm affect your judgment. Because again, if you can't trust yourself to make good decisions based on your constantly being affected, your decision making is based on your feelings and the over emotional response to something, then how is somebody else going to trust you? And how can that lead you to success? I'm going to take that one step further just because my brain went there. This is how I think. If you are run on emotions, if your decision making, good or bad, just take enthusiasm out of this. If your decision making is based on emotions, how in the world can you be successful? I ask that in all honesty simply because emotions can change on a dime. I can piss you off quickly. I can. And if you base your decisions on through day to day, through your business and what have you, on emotion, not accurate thinking, not clear thinking, not the combination thereof, right? Then I don't see how you can be successful. Like I said, I can piss you off in a heartbeat. You know, getting people angry is pretty easy. I mean, it is when you know the buttons to push, especially those that wear everything outside. And I watch people do it. I watch people do it to each other. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad for a couple of reasons. One is I'm watching somebody who now is taking control of somebody else, and not in a good way. It's not to the benefit of anybody but the person that's taking control. It's sad because I'm watching somebody else being held in somebody else's control. And that level of enslavement and dependency is sad to watch. Oh, Cindy's saying she knows a lot of people who get an idea and immediately jump into it. They dislike that I have to process for a while and think the steps out before I jump in. I dislike they don't take the logic in it. It's a matter of choice and perspective, but it also shows our personality and how I work. Yes, it does. I know what I'm trying to become. I know the person that I want to be. I like the person I am now. I want a better version of her tomorrow and days forward. And I like the path that I'm on. If you're the same, follow, let's do our paths side by side, right? I'm assuming you're the same, assuming only because you're joining me these mornings. We're talking about the same stuff, learning the same things, evaluating ourselves along the way. Good stuff. Any other comments? Somebody going to jump in the live stream with me? Say hey. I'm going to talk about the purpose. Let's remember the purpose of taking this test. It's to direct your thoughts and do it on purpose, right? To direct your thoughts and desired channels. It's to crystallize your thinking, to indicate your present position on the road to success, to encourage you to decide exactly where you want to be, to measure your chances of reaching your desired destination, to indicate your present ambitions and other characteristics, to motivate you to desirable actions with positive mental attitude. How cool would this be to take with either a coach, an accountability partner, or maybe as part of a mastermind group? I think it'd be awesome. I'm already thinking that this might be something I'm going to talk to the coach that I have on board for my business retreat. Maybe this one, the first one, or maybe the second one. Or maybe at the beginning of all of them to do a self-assessment. Definitely, I'm seeing this as something that's valuable in a mastermind group. Definitely. Now, is Zeph here? I see the name. Should you pop in and pop out? Because I don't see you up top. So what do y'all think? Were the questions difficult? Is this something that you could see yourself doing regularly by yourself? Or would you prefer to have the guidance or assistance or sharing with an individual? And we'll bring both Cindy and Corey in. I couldn't stand to see myself in the dark anymore. Good morning, Corey. Oh, no, I can't hear you. I can't hear you, my friend.
Good morning.
Can anybody else hear him?
Can you hear me?
And Cindy doesn't want to cooperate. So you can hear him? All right, hold on. Cindy's having trouble getting in. I'm going to kick you out. All right, that means I need to refresh. Yes, it does. I'm going to make Corey a temporary host just in case I get lost out in cyberspace. Hold the seat for me. Be right back. I'm refreshing.
Good, you can hear me. So how are you this morning?
Okay. I can hear you now.
You hear me now?
I can hear you now.
All right. I felt that Verizon commercial. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's it. It's embedded in our culture, isn't it? Can you hear me now? All right. So what's up, Corey? What do you think of this? Testing.
Well, I like the concepts and the principles. I agree. You really got to control your temp, because you can, some people can change temperatures like 1, 2, 3. But I always tell people not to react to things, but to respond. Because when you react, you are moving off your emotions. But when you respond, you're in control of your thoughts and your commotion and your emotions.
Correct. I agree. So what do you think of testing yourself? of taking an analysis, of doing a self-analysis every 3 months, every 6 months, to gauge where you are on your road to personal development?
No, I would. Yeah, I would do it it's always good to see one's own self. Because a lot of times you think you're in one place and you're really not. So this analysis helps you stay in control and helps you realize when you're not in control. So it's I mean I call it self-development, self-empowerment. So I would do that.
Okay. What do you think of the idea of doing it with somebody else?
You know, to help someone else, if they're willing to improve themselves, yes, I would do that.
Okay. See, I'm thinking that it could be beneficial both ways. For the first would be the first time doing it can be really, it can be scary if you've never done it before, because you have to be willing to really look at yourself in the mirror. This is the true, you have to answer honestly, or else it's not going to do you any good. And some people are very frightened by that. But if you're not, and you're able to do this for yourself, to just throw out the idea that maybe you could get with somebody else and get their take on your progress. You know, somebody who's willing to work with you, either in a coach capacity, maybe as part of a group coaching aspect, or maybe part of a mastermind group. I'm already starting to think I might create a mastermind group, have it start with this, and have the group move forward over the next 90 days. And then studying these principles, putting them into action, and then, checking it again. I'm thinking about that. But then again, the course 16 to Success is very much about this, learning the principles. So, all right, Corey, I can hear you, but I can't see you, just so you know. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, there you are. All right, so any other thoughts about testing yourself, about these principles, about the only real limitation is that which you set up in your own mind or accept as insurmountable? Or here's one other. The burden of learning is on the person who wants to learn, not on the person who wants to teach. Where'd you go, Corey? Okay, I have no idea what Corey's doing. I can't hear you again. You want to try it?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Good. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I'm actually at the office. I just made it, but I definitely want to get a comment, because I tell you, you're my morning coffee. You're actually my morning coffee.
Oh, well, thank you.
When I have my coffee in the morning, I get cranky. So you are my morning coffee. It gets me focused, ready to move. Boom. Whatever challenges come, I'm ready for it.
Awesome. How's that for? Thank you. Well, I'm so glad you've been joining us these mornings.
Yes. I want to participate.
And I appreciate that as well, jumping into the live stream with me. Kudos to you. And the things that you share are pretty awesome. All right. So, yeah, we've got a couple of things out here about the desire of the student is important. Yes. It is up to the student and the person who wants to learn to learn. It's not my job as a teacher or trainer. My job is to impart the wisdom and the knowledge and the information. It's your job to learn it. So Donna's saying, when I was a youngster, I played team sports, always had a great coach. But as an adult, I've never had a business coach, so I don't even know how to go about finding the right coach for me as an adult who's very independent. Okay?
Wow.
And then the value of your teaching is just as important to your students as it is to you. Yes. There's definitely a responsibility on the side of the teacher and the trainer, but there's a responsibility on the side of the student and the learner. Now, when the two of
Yes,
them come together accepting that responsibility, amazing things happen. But if you
correct.
refuse to learn, if you refuse to do the homework, if you refuse to, or if you
Follow the
want,
instructions.
yeah, follow instructions, if you're not teachable, or if you decide that you've been shown to do it a particular way and decide to do it a totally different way, it's not the fault of the teacher or the trainer. That comes to the student. So that's my take on it.
No, I want to say in response to what's her name? We're looking here to see.
Donna?
Donna. Yes. Well, you're talking to two teachers and two coaches right here. So I always tell people when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So what are you asking for is sitting right here in front of you. And the most
Possibly.
amazing thing about it's not costing you a dime. Um, I would suggest to follow um, Charlene. She does a morning blog, and I'm telling you, she is my morning coffee. I kid you not. Um, see, Will, I talk very highly of him because he's another one of my coaches. Then of course, follow us. I have a 10 o'clock show I do every morning right after Charlene's show, and I use her as a platform to get my mind where I need to go, so I can do a great job on my show. So if you follow me uh, and follow Charlene, it'll give you an opportunity to learn some things, get on blab, ask questions, get educated, and it's not costing you anything.
There you
So
go.
if a coach don't necessarily have to be in your neighborhood or next door to you or at your church. He could be thousands of miles away because technology's gotten so well now. I could train you in China in my shorts. So, so a
And
coach
yes, I now have that visual. Thank you very much.
so that's my response to you. Tie into Shirley in the morning. Let her jump start you, and then if you want the just before you get ready to have your lunch, catch me at 10 o'clock.
There you go.
I'd be a great and then Will does his 1 o'clock meeting. So you got three big hammer
Now,
times right there.
yes, so Will is doing it on principles of success. He's doing it. And while mine is a variety of books and what have you, right? It initially started out all Napoleon Hill, may move forward into something else. Don't know yet until next week. His is definitely based on Napoleon Hill and Law of Success. And
Correct.
I know this because he's a team member with 16 to Success. And so we've talked about what he plans to do for his own blabs and for his own growth and his own business. So good stuff. You're right, Corey. I
Yes.
think I had a mentor. You could call her a business coach. And she was somebody who took an interest in me when I first started my business. And I just naturally gravitated towards her because of her personality, her education, her view on life, and what have you. And I check in with her. You know, I valued her input, and we didn't meet regularly, but when we did, it was powerful. So I'd take her out to lunch. I say, I'm coming across this in my business, and I'm not quite sure understanding what I'm supposed to do with this. I have an issue with a client, and I think I might have set things up wrong. Can you help me walk through it? Yep. All right, have this huge pile of money. Crap. What am I supposed to do with it now? That was fun. That was, it was like suddenly just wham. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Because it turned out the processes I had in place were actually too complicated. That's why I even had to ask the question. They were too complicated. I had put in processes that I knew to be good for, $25 million a year manufacturing facility. Don't need that
Wow.
for this, this little consultant here. And so she helped me to get a handle on what that looks like. I think you've got a bit too much going on, Charlene. You might want to do this, 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 and this. And when it comes to the monies, this is what I've done with my businesses. These are the benchmarks that I placed on myself for my businesses. And because she did that, she reached them, and she's just now retiring after 20 years. So that's been my experience.
Wow.
Donna's question is, if a good business coach must be a paid coach or a personal mentor you might know, or someone you are inspired by. There's no hard and fast rules. All right. Where I would go first is, who is it that I value their viewpoint? Who is successful? Who, in my view, can provide me the guidance I'm looking for? Now, this little gal who did it, she was a strategic planner, and it ended up her focus was nonprofits. But in all honesty, she had started her business as a consultant to General Electric. And she was, her background is that her degree was in chemistry, and she had grown up in a home of a business owner. And she, you know, there's nothing the woman can't do, from, picking up the shovel to dig the ditch, to shooting the guns, to flying the planes. She's a licensed pilot, to doing what needs to be done. And what attracted me to her was her ability to think things through, her ability to get things done, her financial status, which from the outside you'd never know. But I knew the language that she talked, and I knew that she and her husband were quite well off, and they were. She knew how to invest her money. She knew, and her experiences were interesting. I mean, they only had one child, and she got pregnant when she was 41 years old. Yeah, how's that for a surprise? The same year she started her business. Well, okay, But I started talking with her first, and I got to know her, and she was drawn to me, and she kind of took me under her wing, so she offered herself to me. I found her at a business networking group. That's where I was introduced to her. Literally, I went to a lunch, and I had been invited to lunch by somebody who knew her, but the intention wasn't to introduce me to her. I was there. She sat next to me. We started chatting, and I was invited back, and I kept going back, and that was where we really began the relationship, because she just took an interest in me, and I didn't go with the purpose of looking for a coach. I was open to meeting people that I could follow. All right, so final words about testing your success quotient. Any takeaways? Anybody have any takeaways for today? Mine is copy from success. How's this, Donna? A have-not person. You know the haves and the have-nots. I'm not talking about the soap opera from Tyler Perry. The haves and the have-nots in this world. We hear about it in the news, and we hear people whine and groan and moan that, well, they have everything and I don't have anything. Right? A have-not is a person who believes that an idea is not good for him unless he originates it. A have-not is not willing to copy someone who's been successful. Copy from success. Everything I've done, I've borrowed from another person or a business. There's no reason why you have to think that you're doing it by yourself, or that you've got to come up with something completely original. For the experienced man had something I wanted, and that's why I associated with older, successful men. For we women, the same thing applies. There's tons of experienced, successful women out in this world. All we have to do is start saying, how can I find them? And they'll start appearing. And then you can take what they have, the good, the knowledge, the experience, and ignore their weaknesses or learn from them. Make your own mistakes, learn from them, learn from theirs. Read, copy from success. Yeah, sounds like Steve Jobs. It does, Alfredo. Good morning, Alfredo. Good to see you. All right, so let's wrap this up then. Thank you for joining me in the live stream. Thank you to those in the chat. It's been a pleasure having you here. Thank you to those watching the recording. Glad you're still with us. This is Charlene Burke with Grow Because You Know. That's www.growbecauseyouknow.com. Let's move forward with the day on purpose with purpose to grow our hearts, grow our minds, and grow our businesses. Until next time, have a great day.